Hi, this is Carla Atherton. I'm the director of the Healthy Family Formula and host of the Children's Health Summit, as you all probably know. I just wanted to do an extra sort of podcast, video, recording, interview for you because I have some things that I would really love for you to know about. And so I've decided to do a few really sort of casual discussions with some really amazing people I've been meeting in my journey of discovery and learning, and I'm always doing something along the lines of professional development. So I think that instead of writing, which I'm doing constantly, and it's kind of gets to be a little bit, much trying to write everything and convey it that way, I thought I would just have some conversations with people, like I said, that I've been meeting through all of these wonderful conferences and trainings and such. And that first person that I want to do one of these really casual, chit chats with is Ava Bird, and she's with Relax Sauna. So we're going to be talking about sauna and how the importance of sauna and how families can utilize the healing and miraculous healing benefits of sauna. I would like to say those are my words. And so Ava is here to educate us and give us a few tips and strategies and materials for us to do just that. So Ava, I'm going to read her bio right now just so that we can get to know her a little bit. So Ava is practicing her Dharma by sharing her healing path through the power of nature and all the resources Mother Earth has given freely to us. She believes in the power of our innate light being and keeping that light lit and maintaining the light body with natural, organic, vegan, living foods and far infrared ray energy. Far infrared is the healing light of the sun, which our bodies are naturally endowed with. Seek out, need, and love. Keeping our living light shining is a fundamental biological right and capability which we can keep luminous and radiant by simple autonomous methods without the interference of profit-driven corporations and doctors. Using a holistic path honors the natural flow of Mother Earth and ignites the intuitive capabilities of our own inner doctor and self-healer. So welcome, Ava.
Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you for that introduction and your willingness and drive to share information with people and to get the healing work out there. I know you help a lot of people and you get a lot of people on a healing path, and that's wonderful. I know you work with people all over the world, and you always want to be on the cutting edge of what's out there and always learning and discovering new things. So I appreciate you and all your work, and I appreciate you having me on, and we'll talk about a lot of different things today. And one specifically is far infrared energy, infrared light. We met, Carla and I met at the Functional Genomics Conference. And that's a conference where there's a lot of practitioners from all over the world, pretty much, that come together and talk about, again, these cutting edge things that most people do not know about. And it's people like Carla and the people that she practices with that actually take that information and spread it to the people. Spread it to your clients, the people that you know and the people that you work with, and then they in turn also spread it. So it's really, really important work. And most of the time it doesn't get out there because the mainstream media that operates in all the countries in the world, no matter where you are, keeps this information suppressed because it doesn't feed the pharmaceutical machine. So it's up to people like us to work in the grassroots level and share this information. A lot of it is very simple, and a lot of it is it can be done at home. If you have a good practitioner you can work with on the phone and through Skype and stuff, you don't have to fly around the world to get the best treatment. You can talk to somebody like Carla. She has a lot of information, and she's able to gather the information also from other practitioners, and everybody shares it and it gets out there. But it certainly is not in the mainstream. So we have to work to share it and get it out there. And Again,
Yeah.
it's not that complicated, you know?
No, it's not complicated. And I want everybody to know who's listening that Ava and I are going to do our best to keep our cadence, something that is on task, because we have a huge delay, because I live out in the sticks, as you can see behind me. And my internet is like really slowed down right now, but I was determined to get this interview done because I'm probably not moving anytime soon. So we might have a delay with this interview, like in between when I speak and end and when Ava speaks and ends. So just if there's any of that, just know that we're not, sleeping at the switch. It's just we have this delay. So we're gonna work with that. Another thing I want to say, Ava mentioned that we met at the Environmental Illness and Genomics Conference in September. And that was an amazing conference. And I'll tell you, I just want to tell you one little quick story, and then we'll get into the juice of this and quit talking about why we're talking about this. Was that I was really quite tired when I got there. I had driven for 17 hours straight, which I do not recommend that anybody in their right mind do. But I was determined to get there, and I wasn't able to leave on the day that I was supposed to leave. So I ended up having to do the entire drive in one day. And I was by myself driving from Canada. It was supposed to be a 2-day drive. It ended up to be all one day. I arrived at 5 in the morning and the conference started at 8, and we had 11-hour days. So I was looking around at all of the exhibitors, the vendors, to see what could help me kind of get through. And like I did hydrogen water, and I did a few other things, upping my minerals and, all that stuff. And then of course I was, looking at rest at night once I was able to, rest. But one of those things, I was so thrilled to meet Ava, because at first I didn't want to go and try the sauna, because I'm like, yeah, I know a couple of good brands, and I'm still, like picking which ones that I would really recommend to families. And, I had a couple that I was interested in, but when I went into this thing, I was like, it heated up so fast. And it was like, I was chit-chatting. I'm like, I could totally see having something portable like this. So I'm going to let her start talking about that. But this is where I met her, and it was the best energy. And I love that she does energy work, because it really goes talks about the natural. I mean, all of those things kind of go together with using tools that are easy to use for whole families. Like I'm always looking for stuff like that. I don't want people to go to these complicated things and have to go see a practitioner or a doctor to help them to, improve their health. I want people to have tools that are available to them and that they can control and they can have and they can use as much as they want or as little as they want. So I'm really excited to have Ava here. So that the little preamble, let's get going. So I want to ask, the first question I want to ask you, Ava, is what are the benefits of sauna? Like, why do people use sauna, or why do we think that it's important to sweat? What is the importance of that?
Okay, so that was a good introduction. One more thing that I just wanted to add to that is that Carla, I had a booth at this conference, and I distribute the far infrared portable sauna. And the sauna is right here. This is what it looks like, believe it or not. It's a small portable sauna that weighs less than 25 pounds. So you could take it with you, you could travel with it. And just because it's small and light, it doesn't mean that it's cheap or ineffective. In fact, the opposite is true. So this product was designed, it took about 10, 15 years for them to actually design it, working on it. They had big brains, university professors, product specialists, design specialists, working on this together for many, many years to come up with this product. And what this product does is that it creates sweat very quickly in your body. Now, most of you know, I know Carla knows, and probably the people that she works with know also, but it was Hippocrates that said, give me a way to create sweat and I will cure disease. So that's a simple statement that actually really is very profound in a lot of ways, because, and that was a couple thousand years ago, whenever that was, and he probably, of course, didn't foresee what kind of onslaught of poisoning that humans would put upon themselves eventually. So what we're going through now with the chemicals and the environmental destruction that is being forced upon us on a daily basis through all kinds of means. That's, sweating is more important than ever. It's one of the only ways to get things out of our bodies that otherwise are just not going to come out. And a couple of those things include heavy metals, mercury, aluminum, cesium, lead, arsenic. All of those things are inside of our bodies from, the food, the air, the water, a lot of, Carla has listeners all over the world, but in the U.S. here, where I'm from and where I live, the U.S. military is responsible for a lot of environmental degradation to the whole world, not just ourselves. We're not just doing it to ourselves; we're doing it to other people also. So the U.S. military creates a lot of environmental destruction through nuclear testing, through heavy metal poisoning, poison in the water, in the oceans, and that is, I find that an abomination on the planet, not just the planet, but the people and also the planet animals. We didn't vote on that. We didn't decide on that. And yet we're having to deal with it every second of the day. We're breathing in fumes and chemicals. We're eating it in our food. Even if our food's organic, it's still going to be laced with chemicals that, and it's not just the U.S. military. It goes beyond that. So it's like we're getting it from every angle. Our bodies are just being bombarded by chemicals and noxious things every moment. So one of the ways that we can at least stay on top of it or keep up or keep our body moving in a healthy way to detox is to sweat. And many people do not think that they can have a sauna in their home, but they can. You don't have to join a gym. You don't have to go to a high-end spa. You don't have to pay a lot of money. Every time you want to go and sweat or get in the car and drive somewhere and then share a sauna with other people that might not be sanitary or just isn't really comfortable. You can actually have a sauna that you can have in your home and use daily. Some of them, you can spend $5-10 grand on a big, nice, beautiful wooden sauna. They are nice, but they are expensive and they're not portable, and they're not, they're often not in people's budgets, and often people don't have space for them. So this sauna was created to make it affordable for people to be able to sweat every day in their home, in the privacy of their room or wherever they want. So again, this is the sauna right here. I don't have it completely set up. This is the tent, but there's a small radiator that goes inside of there in a chair, and you sit in and you turn it on, and like Carla said, in about 20 seconds you warm up, and between 5 and 10 minutes you have a really good sweat going on. I'm drenched in 10 minutes. I'm completely drenched in 10 minutes. In 15 minutes, it's like this profound, deep rolling, unbelievable sweat. And then in 20 minutes, it's even more so. So really, it's only a 15 or 20 minute session that you really need to do. And it's not, the reason that this is different, it's not just the portability, it's the intensity of the sweat. So it's not just, turning up the heat in a room and walking in and sitting there and sweating. Although that's good too. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. That's good too. Any sweating is good. Mm-hmm. But this particular sauna is called the Relax Sauna. Uses a different type of technology that's able to create that fast, quick sweat. Mm-hmm. And it is, it's far infrared energy. And I'll just start from, the very basics of that, because a lot of people don't know what that is. But far infrared light, far infrared ray is the healing band of light that we get from the sun. Mm-hmm. So like where Carla's from, it's really cold in the wintertime, and she puts on a winter coat in the wintertime and walks outside. You can get a sense of warmth inside your coat and inside your body with your jacket on. And what you're feeling that is you're feeling the far infrared ray. You're feeling the far infrared from the sun. So it's the healing part of the sun that penetrates down, that goes through your coat, it goes through your clothes, it goes through your body, it goes through your tissues and your cells. It penetrates, like several inches down into your body. and it goes in there and it just pulls the toxins out of your body gently through your sweat. It lifts them out, through the fat layer and up through your skin. But it doesn't just do that. That's not the only thing that happens. So you create a sweat inside the sauna quickly, but you're also speeding up your metabolism, because the far infrared light beams in through our tissues, and it has a resonant frequency with our cells. So it pushes the cells into an active mode. So they start moving, they start dancing, they start moving faster. And when they do that, also the water molecules that a lot of toxicity heavy metals clump together. And when they clump together, they become big, and then they can't exit the body. So it can't, and then the body's always working to get rid of this stuff. Mostly, a lot of people have mercury and aluminum in our bodies, and lead from the lead paint that was used in the beginning of the century. But most of us, a lot of people had mercury fillings before they realized how toxic mercury was. But a lot of people, myself included, I had mercury fillings for a long time. And also aluminum, if you worked with, aluminum in your cooking, and, aluminum is in the air. Again, the militaries are polluting our soils and our water. So even if you're not cooking with aluminum or getting vaccines or had mercury fillings, we're still going to absorb it in other ways.
Yeah.
So that's in all of our bodies, whether we want to, whether we know it or not. We have that in us. Some people, it's at a really high level. Some people, it's really hard for them to excrete. Other people have immune systems that get it out and stuff. But sweating is a way to get that out. Now, far infrared is unique because it actually goes through so deeply into your tissues. The heavy metals burrow so deeply in there, and they're so embedded in us. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard, if not impossible, for our bodies to push it out. Mm-hmm. So far infrared actually is one of the only things that pushes that out of our bodies. And it does so again through our sweat, but then also through our lymphatic system, which a lot of people don't realize how important that is. Our lymphatic system it's like our sewer system of our body. We have lymphatic fluids, and often that has become stagnant in people. It's another one where it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and you add heavy metals, you add mold, you add vaccines and mercury fillings, and if people are having a bad diet, all those things become just like a train wreck inside of people's bodies. And then it manifests itself as fibromyalgia or arthritis or chronic fatigue. Sometimes it's cancer, sometimes it's diabetes, heart disease. Yeah. But often it really just comes down to a very toxic body that has not been cleaned on the inside. A lot of us wouldn't consider, not taking a shower or, not cleaning the outside of our body. That's important too. But, what's even more important is cleaning the inside of our bodies, because it's not as easy. Or people don't realize that it is rather simple, but you really have to, go out of your way, or, you have to focus on it to do it. It's not just going to clean itself.
Right.
So, having a personal sauna is a way that you can keep the inside of your body really clean, and do that daily inside your home. Again, you don't have to spend a lot of money going to a spa or a place like that, where even that you probably wouldn't do it every day. But if you have one inside your home, it's going to be more desirable to do that every day. In fact, it's not like a chore. It's something that's very enjoyable. So some people, don't like sweating. A lot of people don't like that, but once you get used to it, you get it in a few times, and it feels so good, because one, you are cleaning the inside of your body, and your body knows it and feels good from that. So, and there's other chemical reactions that happen inside your body that when you sweat, it brings this, you have the euphoria feeling, as if you ran, they call that the runner's high. You run around, you run a track, or you run outside and run, you get that euphoria because of the release of the endorphins. So a sauna is going to give you that same experience. So, you know, you like Carla, you live in a cold climate, and there's, you know, a couple months out of the year, maybe 4 or 5, 6 months out of the year that you can't just go outside and run around the block. And, you know, I mean, I'm lucky I live in a warm climate. I can run out, you know, I can jog every day outside if I wanted to. Most people in the world, they can't do that. So, or like they don't have a gym membership or they don't want one, whatever. But having a sauna is the way that is actually a workout, believe it or not. Is a workout without having to, you know, go to a gym or run outside or, you know, or have that happen or stress your body in that way. So it's a way that you can get that runner's high, you can get that endorphin release and that blissful feeling, just sitting inside a little container like that. So those are things that even if, let's say you are the exception where you're really clean, you know, you didn't have vaccines, you had a clean diet, somehow, I mean, even those people, they still have toxicity. You don't get out of it in this world, some toxicity, but, you know, it still feels really good to do it. You know, if you're not sick or if you're not really toxic, just being inside the sauna, even for 5 minutes, it's going to lift your mood and it's just going to make you feel really good. And I can go into some of those reasons later.
Well, why don't we, okay, so I just want to jump in because you mentioned a couple of things that I want to highlight actually, Ava. And one of those things was, you know, the family. So, you know, being able to use it in your home, because I mean, logistically speaking, if you've got, let's say you have 3 kids and, you know, there's a couple of adults, maybe 1 or 2 in the whole house, like how are you supposed to do that on a regular basis? I think you're completely right. I mean, this isn't just about our opinions here. It's the science and literature and experience that shows that, you know, this is one of the, and I know this is true, that it's one of the only ways to clean the inside of our bodies. And, you know, where we met at the conference, there was a lot of talking about glyphosate, you know, present in our food, and not just our food, but also in other ways of you know, of us encountering it. And getting it, polluting our bodies or poisoning us really in our children. And because Stephanie Seneff was speaking at the conference as well, and she actually received a standing ovation for her talk. It was, I've never seen someone get a standing ovation at a conference before, but she sure did. And I got to sit with her and, you know, converse with her and really soak it up. And so, you know, we're always thinking about ways to be able to clean our bodies of these poisons, because let's face it, our environment is very poisonous. And sauna is one of those ways. And I literally, there are maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 ways of doing this. And so of getting these toxins out. I also think that, you know, when we understand what the basics of ill health are, like what is actually causing it, there aren't that many things. There are lots of things, but the categories are very, you know, there aren't very many categories. So we have infection, we have toxicity, and, you know, and that those usually lead to some kind of deficiency. So, you know, so if we're looking at metals and chemicals, and also, you know, improving our immune system, that's what sauna does too. I think that's why it's like a one-stop shop, and it's like brushing your teeth. It's like eating well, like you were saying, it's like going for a jog. You want to do all those things. But you take care of your heart and your spirit, you know, you love, you know, all that stuff. But then also that internal environment, we cannot forget. Just because we can't see those things floating around doesn't mean they don't exist. And it's maintenance. So my mission is to help people to drop diagnoses. It's like, we don't need to be diagnosed with this, coming down with all these modern chronic illnesses, especially our children. I mean, children should not have diabetes. Children, I mean, this is not something that we would have seen, you know, 100 years ago. We see other things, but we wouldn't have seen this. So this is our modern day, you know, plagues, you know, and the reason for those things is because we are toxic and our immune systems are not working properly as well. So, I mean, I'm just going to say, I'm seconding that, the things that you were saying. So I have one question, and then I want you to sort of just talk about the things that you were alluding to, just so that we'll wrap up with those thoughts that you're having. But EMF emission, because that's another thing. So we've got these, that's actually another form of toxicity and another, suppression of the immune system. So we're really doing a lot of damage to our immune systems, to our reproductive systems, to the cells themselves and our DNA, with the presence of this massive amount of EMF exposure that we encounter every single day. So our kids are really at risk and suffering because of this. And so that's another one of my missions. So we've got this sauna, and some of the saunas are emitting a lot of EMFs and some are not. And so I had that question for you, and you really answered it very well for me, but I want you to answer it for our listeners here today. So can you address, whether there's EMF emission coming from this particular sauna, from your relaxed sauna?
Sure. Okay, so thank you for bringing that up. It is really important, and EMF it's another, here we're talking about the poisoning the environment in the military, and this is a whole other aspect of, environmental, or how we're poisoning ourselves. And, EMF is so, you can't really see it, or not really, you can't see it. And often people can't feel it either. So it's this invisible toxin that is permeating us constantly. And it comes through, we really getting it a lot through our cell phones. So most of us are not going to be willing to give up our cell phones because our lives pretty much run around them. Like, you brought up having a family and how much your time and energy it goes into, taking care of your family and the maintenance of family and stuff. And to think of not having a cell phone to communicate for emergencies, for business and communicating with people, it's unfortunately, it's a part of life now that, we wish that they could make products that were, just 100% safe, but they're not at that point yet. And I'm hoping, I do think that is possible. And with enough information out, that's another thing that they're suppressing is the danger of the EMFs and how much of it is really coming out of all of our products, not just the cell phones. It's everything. Mm-hmm. Everything is, not all EMFs are bad. The earth generates EMF. Yep. Itself, and the sun generates EMF also. So not every EMF is bad, but most of them with our products, with our technology, it is toxic. Mm-hmm. And we can't see it or feel it, so we don't often know that it's happening. And that's another thing that it manifests itself as other diseases. It's not going to say, okay, you have the EMF disease. And right. You brought up an interesting point too. It's like people often just want a diagnosis. Okay, you have this, you have this. They want it to just be this simple thing. And, but, often it isn't that simple because there are so many aspects and elements from sicknesses that are coming from all these, directions. Okay, some of it's EMF, some of it's the mercury filling, some of it's you're allergic to wheat and the glyphosate, and, and you're eating sugar and, all these things that, that is happening inside people's bodies. It's often not just one thing, mm-hmm. It's a combination of things. Yeah. And then if you peel away the layers and, you detox and you eliminate the things and, but anyway, getting back to the EMF. So anytime you plug anything in, it has just electromagnetic field, electromagnetic frequency. So, and those again are the invisible frequencies that come out of our computers, and when you have Wi-Fi, and it emits a certain type of dirty radiation. Mm-hmm. So now that, if you're using a couple hours a day and you unplug it and you turn off the Wi-Fi and then you put your cell phone off your body, there are a lot of precautions you can take to really minimize it. And the more I've learned about it, the more I do take those precautions. Mm-hmm. But even so, I will still have EMF toxicity in my body because I'm getting other people's, the neighbors. If we don't want a smart meter, that's another thing too, the smart meter thing. Those are emitting a lot of EMFs, a lot of radiation. So I could have the smart meter taken off my house, but if all my neighbors have it, it doesn't really matter that much. I'm still getting it, So it's often what other people are doing. If you walk into a building and, you're getting blasted by everybody else's frequencies, everybody's cell phone, everybody's Wi-Fi. So there's no real getting away from it unless you're living in a cave somewhere. But even if that's the case, they're probably poisoning something else really close by that you might not know about. But anyway, so anytime you plug anything in, you're getting, there's EMF that's coming out of it. Some are worse than others. Our cell phones are high. Our cars, you get in your car, you turn it on, that's going to be generating EMF. Now this particular sauna, and you brought up a good point, some saunas don't have, they present themselves as not having EMFs, or they have ways of mitigating the EMFs. Mm-hmm. So this sauna, you plug it in, it's a very powerful sauna. So it does have EMF, okay? So you plug it in, I'm not gonna say, this is a sauna that doesn't have any EMF. Okay, I would be lying. So that isn't true. It has EMF. Okay. Now you take an EMF counter and you measure it. There's a radiator at the bottom here that's by your feet. Okay. So where it's plugged in and where the energy is being generated, that's where the EMFs are coming out of. Okay. So right by your feet, and if you touch it, like anything, if you're watching your TV set and you're, let's say, 20 feet away from it, you're not getting as much EMF. You don't go up and just, touch your TV and put your face right on the TV set. People don't do that. They, and you can even feel it. You walk up to a TV, you can feel the energy coming out of the TV. So now the sauna is going to be the same thing. You don't want to just go up and touch the radiator or put your body parts on the radiator. But a couple of inches away, if you take an EMF measuring device, it has EMFs like any electrical appliance is going to have, it will measure EMFs. But if you raise it a couple of inches, the further you raise it, where your vital organs are, like starting right around your knees, it actually has 0 EMF. Mm-hmm. So where your vital organs are and where your body is really starting to sweat, there aren't EMFs in the sauna. Okay, so, but again, I can't say that there aren't any, because there are where you plug it in. Now, an interesting, element of that is that far infrared energy actually neutralizes EMF radiation. So if people that have had EMF poisoning or radiation poisoning, if they use a far infrared sauna, it actually detoxes the radiation out of the body. Mm. So it's somewhat of it sounds a little contradictory, but so it's basically how I see it. I'm really a very highly sensitive person. I can feel all sorts of energies. I can, it's like, I'm one of those people that, you have around and they feel everything. And then, so but I'm able to use this sauna several times a day, and I don't have any negative reactions from the EMF. We've had a lot of people also experience that. And that is a question that comes up all the time, especially from educated health practitioners. They know about it. A lot of people, don't know about it and don't care either. But a lot of people do care, and they do know, and it is important, so it is something that to be concerned about. Yeah. So I personally haven't had any negative reactions from EMF in the sauna, and I've been using it really intensely for a couple of years. I'll sometimes get in 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. I do not put my feet on top of the radiators. I do not touch the radiators, and I tell people not to do that either. Like anything, I mean, if you do it, it's, you're not going to die, you're not going to get sick, but it's just like anything, it's the buildup. If you do it all the time, and even then, I don't know if anything would happen, but just like anything, when you're, when you're, this sauna also, it has less EMF output than your blender, than your cell phone. So, it's like we have some people that really are concerned about it, and they'll ask about it. And it's like, if they are really concerned about it, then I ask them, do you have a cell phone? Do you have a blender? Do you have a TV? Do you have a refrigerator? And it's like all those things are going to be generating more EMF than this sauna. And you're not sitting in the sauna for 5 hours, 5, 6 hours a day. You really only, in 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes I'll stay in for 30, 40 minutes at a time. Sometimes, I'll stay in for an hour and, break it up and drinking water in between and stuff. But I haven't had any negative reactions. In fact, it gets the radiation out of my body from that.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, good. That clears a lot of it up for me, because I'm, as my folks know, I'm pretty picky about a lot of stuff, and I want to make sure that all of our environments are clean. And by, I don't want to create another problem by trying to fix a different problem. So yeah, I completely understand. I think that makes total sense to me. And there is, some educational materials out there with people talking about the relaxed sauna, and, who are experts in EMF, illness, and people who are very cognizant of this whole situation, who actually promote the use of this particular sauna. So I'm very comfortable with that, and I really love what you're doing there. So and I just want to say kudos too about this design. I think it's awesome. I was thinking, I'm going to bring this thing over to my dad's. Like, he needs a sauna, and we're going to sauna it up together. I mean, you could sit there if you're having a conversation. You might look a little silly with your head popped out the top, but you can put it in your living room, and that's the one thing is I thought, I wanted a sauna. I actually have the space for it. Because we made sure we had space in our basement and stuff like that for things like that. And I never did get one of those ones that, was a full-on sauna. They're nice, but they're, you kind of have to have the time to do, like, you have to know, okay, I'm going to be out of commission. People can't even talk to me for XYZ amount of time every day. And sometimes people need that. That's okay. Sometimes people are like, okay, I'm going to the sauna, don't talk to me. But, sometimes you just need to have it in the living room where everything's going on and everybody take a turn and, like someone's making supper, but you're still like, like stuff like that I actually think that that's really a great way to integrate it and make it normalize it, not something that's like, for luxury and for getting away from life. And I mean, it's just, I think it's really a good way to normalize the use of something that, we should be doing every day. So I just have a couple, so I don't want to keep everybody too long. But if there's anything that you'd really like to let them know, any testimonials or a couple of points or tips of usage, before I let you go, Ava, that would be really great. I'm going to give you the floor to do that.
Okay, so you brought up a good point about the sociability of it, and that you don't have to have it in this remote location in the home where you can't be reached, and you can't talk. If you've got often, like, you're a practitioner, you have a family, that's true with a lot of people. They literally don't have 15 or 20 minutes to themselves throughout the day. They really don't. It's like, so, and to think of being in another place where the people can't get a hold of them and stuff, that that's not even in the realm of reality. No, but this sauna, because your head is sticking out, so you're able to breathe fresh air, so you're actually able to handle the sauna experience. Yeah, a lot of people, they can't have their head in there, especially women get really often lightheaded, and they feel like they're going to pass out having your head heated in there. So that's exactly like you said, a design feature that is really nice, that you can breathe fresh air, you can watch your kids. If you have an elderly parent, you can still keep an eye on them. And you can also get work done. I have a doctor, a friend of mine that's a doctor, that he has the sauna, and he's one that, he doesn't have, he's got 3 kids. He doesn't have 15, 20 minutes to get in a box and disappear, but he can get in the sauna and he can get work done. There's little zippers here where you can stick your hands out. So you can actually, a lot of people can't even go 15 minutes without checking their phone. So you can actually be on the phone, get work done.
I don't recommend that though. I don't recommend that, but yeah, keep going.
Yes, you have to do it.
Go away for a while.
Right. I mean, I like the aspect of not being on my phone and having some time to myself and being in the sauna really relaxing. I meditate in it. I'll listen to a podcast or a show that I'm educating myself, that I'm not just, sitting there doing nothing for that time. Although there's something to be said for that too, but I'm off, I multitask with it. I meditate and listen to show or listen to music. And it's a time where, it's like, a lot of people become really creative in the shower or they're working out. This is another one of those things too, where you get a lot of creative downloads. You get a lot of meditative ideas and stuff when you're in the sauna. Another thing that I wanted to address also is core temperature. So this sauna is unique in how fast and how much it can raise your core temperature. Yeah, no, you as a practitioner know how important that is. And that again goes back to the quote, give me a way to create sweat and I'll cure all disease, by Hippocrates. So when you raise your core temperature in your body, now diseases like cold, stagnant environments, cancer, Lyme, they like that because, your body is not able to fight it off if it's just sitting there, So mold also can grow in those environments. Now, if you have a body that's circulating and that it's really active and that all the cells are moving and stuff, it's going to be really hard for, and also heat, Lyme, cancer, they can't stand the heat. So when you raise that core temperature, often you only really need to raise it like 1 or 2 degrees to kill off those pathogens and the viruses and stuff.
Yeah.
So we had, we didn't even do this. Yeah, we didn't even do this test. We had a guy come out of nowhere. He was he was either a scientist or a doctor, and he said, I have your sauna. I tested it. He said he got in the gym sauna. He said he stayed in for an hour. It raised his temperature for like a half a degree. He said he got in our sauna, and like 20 or 30 minutes later, his core temperature went up like, like 3 or 4 degrees really fast.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's something we didn't even know. We often learn from people that have our saunas that give us feedback. We learn from them, because they do the testing. They have patients, they have clients that give them feedback. They're able to test the before and after. We've had people that, that's another thing, is the efficiency of how fast and how efficient it is. You don't have to sit in here for 5 hours. It doesn't take 5 years. It's like, a lady with mercury poisoning, her naturopath said, get one of these relax saunas. And within 5 weeks, her mercury levels were normal, And so, we see amazing results with this all the time. I wish that I had tested my heavy metal load before and then after.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it because I didn't know. Of course, I'm sure I was really toxic and I didn't know. I had mercury fillings and stuff, and I got them taken out, and then I was doing really intense saunas and stuff. But my mercury level, my heavy metal level is actually, I got tested recently. It's normal. So I don't have any, I don't have any, but I would have been really shocked if they had been high because of how many saunas I do.
Yeah.
But core temperature is really important, and circulation is really important. And that's some of the main things. Other things too, skin flow, it's going to be good for your skin. Another really important thing is heart patients. There's a lot of people with heart issues, heart attacks, strokes, congestive heart failure, there's so many people with heart issues. And traditionally, heart patients were recommended not to go in the sauna because, the gym saunas and the saunas at places, they get up really high. They can go up 180, 190, 200, sometimes more, which, that can, for some people that can be dangerous. Yeah. In that, you heat the body too much or it heats the brain up. And it actually stresses the heart. Now, far infrared energy is a light. It's not heat, it's actually light. So it's going in there and it's helping the heart. It's helping the circulation. It's dumping the gunk out that the heart is having to pump through. It's having it makes the job of the heart easier. So heart patients, this is a real, a real helper for people with heart issues because it gets their circulation going. It dilates the capillaries, which, that in itself is doing a lot. It's opening up the pathways for oxygen, nitric oxide, it increases your oxygen intake in your body and brain. So you're getting more oxygen into your body, into your heart, into your cells and veins and stuff. So it's like on every level, for so many diseases and non-diseases, it's just, and then when you get out, you feel really good. It's not like you got to deal with this headache or no, you don't feel good after it. It's like, okay, I know I got to do this, but I feel sick after. It's not like that. It's like you get out and you feel good. You feel better than when you got out. So people also in cold climates, they get in for 10 minutes, you warm up your body and you're able to handle the day of the cold of the day because your body's warmer. Yeah.
That to me, that is like a real bonus for me because I enjoy the snow, but the weather that we had this last winter was just insane. It was colder than Siberia here. But it's not always
wow.
It's just like that winter is just really awful, especially, and then that's like the circulation issues. I have family members who have circulation problems, and it's just hard for them to kind of get through the day without feeling uncomfortable. So it's just, there's so many things that you said that that are really speaking to me. And also about being able to have your head out and be able to heat up really fast. If you've got children who you'd like to use this, or people who are elderly, they're not going to sit there for half an hour in a closed-in space. They're not going to do that, So it's way more practical when you have a design like this and quick, right? Like I'm not saying everything has to be fast, but some things do have to be a little faster than like taking an hour or whatever, because we've got stuff to do. And if you want to use it in a situation where you want to be away, you want to meditate, you go bring it into that room where you're by yourself, and that's where you do it. So I mean, I love the versatility. I think that's really important for families. So I really do. And so Ava, I really appreciate you being here. I just don't want to, take too much more time for you and for our listeners. I want people to come away and to be able to digest what we've said. I really welcome all kinds of questions. If anybody has, and they can reply to the email that this is going to be delivered through. And I can, if I don't know the answer, I'll ask Ava. And so can you just let us know if there's any final thoughts you have? And then after we do that, I'm going to put under in this newsletter a bunch of information about how you can, get one of these things for your own family, because I think that accessibility is huge. I've spent years trying to find good tools for my own family. So whenever I find a good one, I want to share it. So Ava, do you have anything that you'd like to say just before we wrap up?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Well, you brought up a good point too, is elderly people. Elderly people often have circulation issues, and they're not going to sit there for a half an hour. A kid is not going to sit there for a half an hour and just sit there and get really hot. Now, because this is a soft, gentle, healing light, right, it actually feels really good. So you put an elderly person in there, you're going to get their circulation going really, really quickly, like within 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, their circulation's going to be going. They're going to feel really good. If they have neuropathy, if they have trouble, pains in their legs, all that stuff, that's really going to help them. Another thing that I wanted to mention also, when you mentioned kids, is the autism epidemic right now.
Yep.
And that comes down to heavy metal toxicity. Aluminum and mercury in the body, and there's different reasons for that, but because far infrared energy pushes the heavy metals out of the body gently, you're not having to, it's not like you're going and throwing up and, going to the bathroom every 5 minutes after you get out of the sauna. It actually does it really gently. It comes out through your skin, and it, also the lymphatic system comes out through your urine and also your bowels. So you use the sauna for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, and then you go to the bathroom. You're not going to feel it coming out, but they're going to come out. The heavy metals and the toxins are going to come out gently through those ways. So there's 4 powerful ways that this is working inside your body: the lymphatic, the sweating, the urine, and the bowels. So you'll experience that in a gentle way. Of course, one thing I want to add too is if people are using the sauna, especially if they're really getting the heavy duty sweats on, you really have to drink a lot of water. So it's going to help your hydration. I drink way more water now than I used to. I used to think I drank a lot of water, but I was still dehydrated. Now with the sauna, it forces me to drink more water and take more electrolytes and my minerals and stuff. I'm putting those back in my body, whereas before I don't think I was as aware of it, because it's getting the electrolytes out stuff. So you want to replace those back in. But so back to kids, I was surprised to learn and find out that kids actually really like being in the sauna. When they first see it, they think, if you look at it, it looks like maybe kind of a spaceship, some kind of a tool, some kind of a little cave, and they like it, and they're not as sensitive so much to temperature as adults are. So they get in and they actually really love it. We've had autistic kids. So getting back to autism is a heavy metal issue. This gets heavy metals out of the body. So that also helps balance your brain chemistry, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. People have sleep issues often. This will help your sleep. This will help you sleep deeper, and it'll help you go into those deeper states of relaxation and sleep. It's called the relax sauna for a reason. Yeah. So it does help in that element. And then the autistic kids, they're help getting the heavy metals and stuff out of the body and everything, and they actually really like it. And then one more thing that I wanted to add is that Carla has a link that your clients and the people that you work with can use, and Carla will give you a discount on your relax sauna. So that's a really good deal, because normally you would have to get it on the internet and you're going to pay full price plus shipping and tax. So Carla's able to give you a nice little discount when you use her code, and she'll provide that for you. That's a great deal, because actually the price on this is really good, and even the retail prices is good, but then getting a discount on top of it, I mean, this is a big life changer for people. One more thing that I forgot to add, a big epidemic too, in addition to the autism and everything else, is Lyme disease. A lot of people have Lyme.
Yeah.
And they don't know it. It's fibromyalgia, it's arthritis, you're depressed, you know, there are all kinds of things that is being misdiagnosed because the testing is not adequate. We don't have good testing for Lyme disease. So often they're getting, you know, misdiagnosed, and it really comes down to, well, you have Lyme disease. And, you know, it's not just, oh, well, I never got bit by a tick. It's not just about ticks.
No.
You know, you can get it through mosquitoes. You know, there's so many ways that it's transmitted, right? So we've had people that they could not get out of bed from Lyme disease, and they were losing everything. They were losing their life, their family. They couldn't be a parent. They couldn't be a partner. They couldn't work from Lyme disease. And they got in the sauna. They got a sauna. Somehow they found out about it, and it gave them their quality of life back. They were able to, you know, get up and do things and live their life. So for Lyme disease, it's really, really, really powerful.
Yeah. And people with mold illness as well who are trying to detox mycotoxins. That's another application is for mold, because I'm seeing so much mold. Like, I can't even tell you, Ava, how much mold I'm seeing for people. And it's like, what is going on? And again, there's a whole bunch of science with that, with the combination of mold and EMF, and how it's becoming more virulent and more toxic actually than it was in the past because of this addition of EMF stressors. So so to detox from you know, the mycotoxins from mold exposure, huge. That's like that's what I do with every single client that I have that has mold toxicity. And as well, I do that. I recommend a home sauna for everybody, actually. Everybody who comes through my doors, because it's so powerful. So thanks for mentioning those things, though, because I think they're really important, and then people's ears will prick up because they're like, oh, that applies to me, right? That applies to my grandpa. That applies to my child. All right. So, okay, like I said, okay, so thank you so much for allowing me to give my community a discount. I think that's wonderful. I appreciate that so much. I'm very excited about that. So I hope that people take us up on that. And so again, we'll provide links. And thanks so much, Ava, for being here and for sharing this information with us. I really appreciate that.
No, you're welcome, Carla. Anytime, you know, if you want to have a more, you know, I know we covered some basics and stuff, and if you ever want to, you know, you have you getting feedback from your clients and the people that you work with, how the sauna is working and stuff, we can do a follow up and, you know, talk more about it and go more into depth. You mentioned something, and you know, we could talk for hours and hours, and I could, oh, there does this too, oh, this too, you know, it goes on because there's so many things. But you mentioned mold, and that is something that is a big. And that's usually something I mentioned early on, and I forgot because there's so many other things that are important too. But mold is a big deal, and it's it also you're right, it works with EMF. It also works with Lyme. Often people can have Lyme dormant in their bodies, and then they're exposed to mold, and then it brings out the Lyme, and so then they have mold and Lyme and EMF. So it's like, it's something where, and then they all work together. Those things, yeast, you know, the mycotoxins, the heavy metals. It's like they're having a party inside your body, you know, without your permission. And, you know, once one gathers there, then they bring their friends, you know, and then they, you know, and that becomes this, like, you know, noxious cocktail. So, but the sauna is, you know, if you do it consistently, and you know, it's like, you don't even, I use mine every day. If you have it, you just love it so much you want to use it every day, but you get benefits even if you're only using it once or twice a week. They've had people that they had mercury poisoning and they had mercury fillings, and they were never going to get them taken out for one reason or another. Their mercury levels still went down using the sauna once or twice a week. So it's not like you have to use it every day. We do have a practitioner. She works with mold, mycotoxins and mold. And she said, and until her clients are using you know, saunaing and sweating and getting in the sauna every day, she won't even go to the next stage with them. She's like, you have to do this every day in order for you to get better. So it's like, it's such an important foundational, you know, healing modality that is really important, because otherwise, how is it really going to come out? You know, if you're not sweating it out, how?
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, Ava, thank you for those final thoughts. I appreciate it again. Everybody have a wonderful day, and you as well, Ava. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Carla. Thanks for your great work.
Thank you. You're no problem.
All right. So be in touch.
Yes.